All right, it is Tuesday. It is time for another comic conversation. Welcome back, guys. I'm Jesse here. This is JLS Comics. We have a really fantastic guest with us today. This is Vince. He works with Aspen Comics. In fact, he is the editor-in-chief there. He's also a writer, a creator. And we have a returning panel as well. Justin and Edwin are here. So you want to give your intros and say hi to Vince?
Sure. My name is Edwin, and I'm with StrictlyComix. And Vince, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on board. It's an honor to have anybody really in the comic book industry, so I thank myself as long as a lot of people who are watching are really looking forward to really what you have to say.
Cool. Good to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Justin, ExileState Comics, and, of course, managing editor over at Comic Books. And, yeah, big thanks to Vince for taking time out of his day to sit and talk with us about comic books and, you know, tell us what we need to be looking forward to out of Aspen.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah. And just to repeat what they said, thank you, man, for doing this. We really appreciate it. So do you want to, you know, give an intro to yourself and, you know, let the viewers and folks know who you are and kind of what does it entail, you know, being editor-in-chief at Aspen Comics?
Yeah, hey, everyone. My name is Vince Hernandez. I'm the vice president, editor-in-chief of Aspen Comics. I've been doing that for 13 years now. Before that, I worked at Image Top Cow for 3.5 years. I was a direct sales manager over there. Before that, it's a bunch of just random jobs doing a bunch of BS stuff. In between those two comic book jobs, I worked over at Fox and Fox Sports. So I have, you know, a little bit of an entertainment background, mostly comic books. I've done comic books my whole life, nearly 17 years now in the comic book industry. Day in the life of an editor really depends on, you know, what the specific project is for the week, what we have going on. I run all the publishing as well as all the digital stuff. So, you know, editing is really fluid. I mean, there's different, you know, tasks every day, different things come up. Really depends on the books we're putting out. You know, fans will know our library of books, but they'll mostly know Fathom, which was Michael Turner's creation. That's our flagship title. You know, we first debuted Soulfire as one of our early titles here at Aspen. So those two books are our tentpole flagship books. That's where everything starts with our line of books and goes from there, basically. You know, anything from editing books, deciding creative teams, figuring out, you know, scheduling, deadlines, stuff like that. You know, it can vary. So my day usually begins with kind of just going through emails, making sure all the creators are happy, making sure everything's running smoothly. Usually it's not, because comic books is always you know, one problem after another in terms of creative team. I mean, we're here making art, so there's any number of life problems that come into play when you're talking about, you know, publishing a comic book. So that's really where I come into play. I kind of try to oversee each book and make sure everything's running smoothly. Dealing with talent a lot of the time is kind of the priority for my job, and, you know, everything flows from that. Like I said, it's fun stuff. It's challenging. It's, for comic book creators, it's pretty much like a dream come true. But, you know, on the regular work side, it's a lot of work. I mean, you're basically making sure a bunch of different human beings are doing their job all at one time. So it can be challenging, but you know, I love it. I've been doing it, like I said, half my life now. So I wouldn't change it for anything.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts to keep going all at once there. So.
Oh yeah, it's fluid.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're talking about some of the books. One of the recent things that, you know, has been in the news a lot, and a lot of people, you know, love are, of course, these, right? The Michael Turner exclusives, right?
Yeah.
So those are done now, right? Everything is sold out, and it was, you know, unequivocally, I mean, it's really safe to say it was a smash hit, right? So what's the feeling like at Aspen right now? You guys must be elated, you know, probably having parties every day. I don't know, but
oh, I wish we were having parties every day. Honestly, it's, you know, we're still working hard. For us, you know, obviously, yeah, we're happy. We wanted these books to really, you know, we wanted them to be successful so that a lot of Michael Turner fans could really get their hands on them. And, you know, it's been a while since Michael's early run on the DC books, since he's had new DC art out there. And if you're a fan of Michael Turner, I think you kind of realize that his DC work was some of his most iconic cover work. So for us, it was really about just getting those books out there for the fans and really kind of capitalizing on the whole Rebirth initiative with DC. And we just want to do something fun. We love Michael's art. Obviously, he's our founder, so for us, it's always about pushing his artwork forward to as many people as possible. And we're not gonna lie. I mean, we were, when the first book came out, the Batman, when we had a feeling just based off of Michael's past Batman and DC work that book was gonna sell well. But I mean, we could have predicted. I think it sold out in under an hour or something like that. I'd have to go back and check the specifics, but I don't think it lasted more than like an hour or two on our web store. And that was kind of our first indication that, hey, this could be something that we're onto here that, could be bigger than what we expected. And, we had some fun with it following that book. We came out with Justice League after that. That book was another smash hit. All-Star Batman, Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn. I mean, each one kind of overlapped the next one in terms of the success. I mean, it got so successful that there were fans just angry at us because they couldn't get their hands on the books. Our website at one point had so many hits on it that we just weren't prepared for that level of traffic. I don't think many websites would have been. And we took a hit. I mean, the fans really they laid into us, and they gave us hell for that. But at the end of the day, it's like it's a good complaint. I mean, we're not gonna sit here and complain that fans want our product, and they're rabid about it. So we were happy. We're not throwing parties here just because of the fact that here at Aspen we know how awesome Mike's art is, and we knew going in that, hey, there's a market out here of people that just love his DC work, and for us it was more about validation and seeing that, hey, this is 13 years since Aspen was formed. It's going on 8 years since Michael passed away. His name and his art are still living on, bigger than most people out there in comics right now, which to me is like, that's unbelievable. I can't believe that there's, artists out here working that, they can't get as much popularity as Michael's work from the past. So, I mean, it's all good on our end. We were really happy with the books. We upped the print run on a few of them just to get more into people's hands. So, yeah, all in all, I mean, we call it a complete success. Hopefully the fans agree. I think they do based off of the numbers. It's cool to see you guys got them, so that's cool. And that was always our goal, just to make sure, as many Michael Turner fans could get those books. Yeah, you got the whole set. Awesome. That's what we want to see. I mean, so yeah, I mean, we were happy. We were definitely happy.
Excellent. Yeah, it was definitely a success, and I was following kind of along with it as, from the beginning book, and, all the traffic, and I think the website actually, crashed at one point just because you had so many people trying to get to it. So, yeah. I mean, that's just, people that ravenous about getting this. That's really cool. That must be, really rewarding for that. I was kind of curious, though, with the actual art, like, how did you go about selecting the pieces to use for each cover, and can you tell us a little bit about that process? And I understand that Peter was involved in that as well. Is that right?
Yeah, those books were actually coordinated by our co-owner Frank Mastromarro, and he was also Michael's best friend and really his kind of art dealer and just art manager in a way. So all the Michael Turner art that we always use goes through Frank, and Frank and Peter and our production guy Mark, they kind of sat down and they had in mind already a few of the pieces. I mean, we knew going in that we had a few Turner pieces that had yet to be used as covers, or ones that we were like, these are gold, and I think the fans will really love these. The Batman ones in particular, we had those in the past to use, but we just never got around to using them. And they weren't colored, so I think for us that gave us a great opportunity to really present these pieces, because a lot of fans, as much as we say this is new art for new fans, there are a lot of diehard Turner fans out there that kind of had already seen a few of these pieces. They just hadn't seen them colored, or they hadn't seen them done up yet in the way that we wanted them to. So for us, once Frank and Peter and everybody had come to agreement that these were the pieces we wanted to do, it was just a matter of having fun with them at that point and giving them to Peter and saying, look, do what you do. I mean, Peter is one of the best colorists in the industry, so for us, there's not much challenge involved in giving him a Turner piece and being like, hey, work your magic. And then, DC was involved a lot. I think, judging off a lot of the comments on our Facebook fan page, a lot of people kind of assumed that we were completely in control of these things, and everything we did, especially anything that they didn't like, was all us. But, DC played a big part in this as well. At the end of the day, these are their covers, so they had their opinions and thoughts on them as well. And there was some back and forth. Obviously, DC has their own kind of rebirth dressing, which I'm not sure if you can see from that, but we're real sticklers about quality, about cover dressing, about logo placement, things like that. And there's a little back and forth here and there where we'd be like, well, we think Turner's art would look better if the logo was smaller. Hey, this is blocking this. But at the end of the day, I really think the 5 covers we came up with are the best possible presentation of these pieces. And there's a reprint also of the Batman one, which I think is gorgeous. That's really where the fun came in. I mean, once we nailed down the logistics of the deal and figured out, okay, well, these are the 5 titles we're going to do. It really became like, okay, which of the cool Turner pieces do we have? Which ones can we use? And what can we do to make these awesome? And I think, at the end of the day, Peter deserves, the lion's share of the credit for really, making these pieces come alive. I think a lot of times people look at Michael's art and they just are blown away. But when you really look at what Michael drew and then what Peter does to the pieces after the fact, he's just as integral to the whole process as Michael. And I think, for us, we value his colors more than anybody because we get to see him every day. But it's a real treat to see what he does with each of these pieces, because even as people who work for Aspen and people who are coordinating these covers, when we see the colors come in, we're like anybody else. I mean, we're like the fans. We're like, these are awesome. This is cool. Especially the Spider-Man one, because I had seen that before, and just seeing it with the cover dressing and seeing how it all came together. I mean, that was really, really exciting to see. So, nothing bad about that whole initiative and that whole project with all those covers. We were ecstatic to do them. We were overwhelmed by the response. We're still overwhelmed by the response, and it was nothing but good things, I think, overall for us. I mean, it really helped us as well in terms of just, giving us more of a reach to other new fans that maybe weren't familiar with, who we are as a brand, our Facebook page, just things that, we have trouble reaching as an independent publisher because of the fact that, most comic book fans, once Marvel and DC and Image are gone, they just kind of shut their brains off, and we're just kind of all grouped into one big mass. So for us, it's always kind of rewarding and a little, we take pride in our work, so to see our stuff out there on like Marvel and DC, and that Batman #1, I mean, judging from what I've seen already, looks like it's probably going to be the hottest selling book of the year in terms of how quick it sold out, how much the value just jumped on that. So we're proud of that. That to us is really rewarding. I think a lot of times we get kind of swept under the rug when it comes to comic book publishers because of the fact that we're not the new kid on the block anymore. We're not the biggest publisher. And we're not Image, who has big name creators on all their books. I mean, they're an independent publisher, but they're basically using Marvel and DC creators. So it's a tough road for us indie publishers who are just doing original content with new creators. So it's fun. I mean, we love to see that stuff. We love to get out there and reach those new fans, especially Marvel and DC fans. I mean, we love them. They got rabid on us and they brought out their anger, but we were excited to see them and see these new faces and really hopefully convert them to being Aspen fans. So nothing but good on that stuff on the DC Rebirth books. I'm glad you asked.
Excellent. No, that was a fantastic answer. We're talking about that and the focus there, and I'm sure it brought in so many new readers for you. I can't tell you how many times I've seen on YouTube or read comments about people who went, to the site to buy the book, and then they just started playing around with the other areas and like, oh, that one's cool, I gotta get this one and order this one. And, so kind of getting people there, that traffic, I'm sure, has really opened the doors for you guys for a lot more readership. So I think that's fantastic, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was all good, definitely.
Yeah, very good. And kind of with that in mind, there's so many other, titles and creators and books that you guys have. Sia, Talent, right? I think you just recently put up something on your Facebook for one of his covers, right? Is a variant or an exclusive, which is phenomenal. That cover is beautiful. So guys, go check that out if you haven't seen it. But can you talk a little bit about some of the other books and the other titles that you have? I guess in the stable currently, and
yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Now is a great time to be an Aspen fan or like a new reader, because we're basically we're creating a brand new universe based off of the characters that we had already established in the past 13 years. And everything starts from one title, Aspen Universe Revelations, which came out in last July, which is still going on. It's a 5-issue miniseries. It's an interesting point in Aspen's kind of chronology right now because for 13 years we did self-contained miniseries, just one-and-done stories. Had a beginning and end, and then if it did well, we kind of came back with a volume 2. If it didn't do well, we basically said, all right, well, that didn't work out well. We'll try something else. Last year we decided, or I guess like earlier this year, we decided, you know what? Fans have always wanted our characters to interact. That's kind of been one of the themes we've always heard from fans is, I'd love to see Aspen from Fathom, talk to Grace from Soulfire, and we have this other book, Executive Assistant Iris, and what would happen if they all kind of crossed over? And we were always hesitant to do a crossover because you hear the word crossover and you think, oh man, this is a gimmick. This is an event. It's just something that's going to happen, and then they're going to go back to status quo after that. So we were kind of hesitant at first. We didn't want to do that. But after kind of brainstorming, we thought, you know what? Let's be unique for a comic book publisher and try to actually do what the fans want for once. And I say that with a grain of salt, but that's actually kind of sadly true for a lot of publishers. We kind of get stuck in the groove where it's like, all right, well, we need a new #1 or we need sales. Let's try a gimmick. So that was kind of our reservation for this thing. But at the end of the day, we were like, you know what? This is the one thing we've heard from fans since day one. The most feedback we've gotten is this kind of, we'd love to see the characters interact. So we figured let's give them what they want. So we basically kind of cleared the slate of our titles and said, let's just create a brand new universe with all these characters. Most of our fans already know who they are, so it'll be a fun reintroduction to a lot of them. But mostly this is a lot for new readers. I mean, this is for new fans who've never heard of us. Like I said, it's this is year 13 for us, so not to say we've run out of tricks, but now it's put up or shut up at time for us, and we really want to make sure that for us we're putting out good quality stories with just characters that resonate. We're not into like just killing characters off and doing weird stuff and gimmicks. That's also why we stay away from licensed books, just because that's not our forte. We like to create original stories and see what happens with these characters. Very much like Valiant, I think, is probably the closest publisher to us in terms of just what we do as a philosophy. And we look up to those guys. They're real cool guys. I mean, I know a lot of them, and I really like what they do over there at Valiant. I mean, I'm a big fan of companies that take risks and companies that create new content. I really feel like, especially in like film and TV, I mean, there's such just a glut of let's just go back to stuff that worked in the 80s and 90s and just redo it. I laugh at some of them. I mean, I like 21 Jump Street. That made me laugh. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm a big proponent of, hey, let's get new content out there. Let's get more Stranger Things out there versus another 80s redo. So that's kind of the philosophy we take here at Aspen. Does it work for us often? Not a lot. I mean, sometimes we have our hiccups, especially when it comes to sales. I mean, we've been fighting the sales fight for a long time now in terms of just getting our numbers up. And there's titles where I felt like, hey, this was a book that should have sold a lot more. But those are the realities of the marketplace, and we kind of just work within them. And for us, an extra 500,000 copies of something could really make or break a book for us. So it's on us to really promote the stuff and get out there and spread the word. And I think that's kind of what this new Aspen Revelations miniseries is about, is starting a brand new universe, giving readers a new jumping on point, and just having fun. I mean, that's what our kind of mantra is every time we get into the studio. It's like, let's just put out comics that we like reading as kids, that were fun stories, nothing that's crazy. We don't have to kill a character every 5 issues. We don't have to restart everything all the time. But this is kind of our jumping on point, and we're going to see where it goes from here. Bring on some new creators. We've had a good run with a lot of creators. J.T. Kroll specifically has been kind of our rock as a writer. And he's branched off and done a lot of DC work, but he's always kind of come back and done our stuff. David Wool, creator of Witchblade and executive assistant Iris. And most recently, Joshua Hale Falkov has jumped on to do this Revelations book, and he's really he's just a brilliant writer. I mean, I chased him around for 2 years to get this guy to join us, and I was happy to finally make it work. I hate doing that as an editor, but yeah, it worked out well. I think at the end of the day, fun stories, entertainment value, I mean, that's what we're looking for.
Perfect. And you're doing a great job at it too. So a lot of great things coming out of there. So, kind of talking about some of the books that it's like, why are people reading this? One of them is Bubblegum. we had a question here in the chat from Gene Polly's Peter. He's another fantastic YouTuber. And he said, will we see Bubblegum again?
It's funny you mentioned that for two reasons. One, I'm sitting in the creator Mark Roslin's chair right now. He's the guy I told you has the best computer here in the studio.
Right.
He's also on production. And two, if you went to our panel at Comic-Con, you would have seen that we dropped a teaser for 6 different series that we're going to be releasing next year without revealing too much because the teasers didn't have any text or any words. Bubblegum was one of the images there, so there definitely is plans for a Volume 2. I guess I kind of ruined the teaser, but for you guys, I'll do it. I'll give you guys that nugget. We are bringing Bubblegum back next year, and that is going to be one of the earlier releases that we have planned. Like I said, we try to listen to fan feedback, so that was a book that a lot of fans really enjoyed. We enjoyed it here at the studio. There just isn't enough cyberpunk out there, I think, as well. When you look out on the market, a lot of steampunk, a lot of fantasy, but for us, we just felt like cyberpunk needs a little bit of a kick. You know, there's not that much out there, and this is kind of our ode to that, and we really had fun with the first volume, and, you know, chicks with giant guns and space and, you know, bounty hunters, you can't go wrong with that stuff. I think, you know, for us, we, like I said, we just go back to, hey, let's make a fun book about, you know, bounty hunters, and that was kind of that. So, yeah, we definitely have plans for Bubblegum.
Very cool, very cool. Thanks for the teaser, too, the exclusive. Keep that here, guys.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that. What was I going to ask? Oh, there was another question here, kind of going back to the Turner exclusives. He was asking if any of that kind of the proceeds, I guess, went towards the Turner family. I mean, can you talk about that at all? Yeah.
You know, I can a little bit. I can't talk too much about the financial logistics of what Michael's. His estate was kind of split after his passing. But I can say, rest assured, because we have gotten that question a lot, fans can rest assured that the money that we make here at Aspen goes to where Michael intended it to go, and that's always been our goal. We're not, you know, we're all friends of Michael and his family, and we're, you know, some of his best friends. So for us, that's never been an issue for us to ever, you know, exploit his legacy or his name. And I know a lot of fans have brought that up in the past about, you know, who's getting the money for this, and you know, I can say that Michael always intended for Aspen to live on beyond his passing. You know, he was a realist in his condition, and he definitely prepared for the future more than most. And you know, he certainly made sure that any finances we made in his name went to the places that he wanted them to go. And that's probably all I can say without getting too much into anything legal that I'm not supposed to say, beyond the fact that you know, I'm not one of the owners either. So you know, at the end of the day, we kind of just what we do with the Turner stuff, and then it usually goes to the right place. I know that his family's estate are very happy with everything and the way everything is situated. So there's no complaints from any of Michael's family or any of the people that were close to him or us. So you know, hopefully everyone's happy with the way it's been handled. And I think at the end of the day, Aspen, we've always tried to respect his name and who he is. And I mean, he's our founder, so everything we do revolves around what Michael would have done.
Perfect. That's, you know, what I was hoping you were going to say. So that's great. So happy to hear that. So I think I saw recently you were at one of the conventions. Was it the Boston Comic-Con, or Aspen had a studio there?
Yeah, we were at Boston. Yeah, we went to Boston last weekend. First time.
First time. How was it? I know we had some of the YouTubers there as well. I think some of them stopped by the booth. Chris was there, yeah.
Yep. Oh, did you?
Yeah, no, I went and you know, I saw it. You guys in the back, so it was like, oh, and it's like, you know, it's kind of funny just because, like, you know, usually on that wall there's not much going on, and all of a sudden you just go over and it's like, oh, Aspen. I was like, whoa, okay, let's go. So it was pretty cool to get you guys over there, man.
Yeah, I think we had the opposite reaction because we were like, wow, where are we? This is like a hallway. We never been in this little area or seen this little spot, and it was kind of cool. We were like, all right, well, we'll make it work. Because that was our first year, so we didn't have any idea of where they put people or what they kind of situation is. Aspen, we just kind of make the best of any situation we get. So for us, we were like, oh, cool, we're out here. We'll do whatever we can to make it a good show. It was fun. I mean, personally, I didn't go, so I didn't, have the experience that the other guys had. But I heard from them, and they said the Boston fans are awesome. We don't get to go out to the East Coast a lot, so for us, every time we get out there, it's always kind of that same reaction, like, "Oh, Aspen's out here. That's cool. Like, you guys should come out more." For us, it's just a challenge. We get that from the New York crowd too. They're just always like, "Where the heck are you guys? Like, you never come out here." And we're like, "Well, we're West Coast based, and for us sending a crew out it's costly. I won't lie. I'm sure you guys, as a lot of you guys know, you guys are creators. I'm sure in your own right. Setting up at a con is no joke, especially nowadays where promoters are trying to ream you one way or another, unless you're some big name star. So for us, we try to be selective, do cities that we haven't done in a long time. It's hit or miss. Sometimes we do shows where we're like, where are we? We have no idea. We're in the middle of a ghost town. That's few and far between with us lately. We went to Denver earlier this summer. That show was crazy packed. We did Comic-Con. Obviously, that show speaks for itself. Boston, apparently, this is our first year, but we'll definitely be entertaining the thought of that because it was kind of packed, and I heard good things about that show, and we're doing Fan Expo Toronto in 2 weeks. Nice. So it's kind of like a traveling road show for us, this summer.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, like Boston's is still kind of growing. It has it's grown a lot. I mean, and then it's still kind of picking up steam. So it's just like one of those things where it's definitely not as big as New York or some of the other ones that you had mentioned. But it's definitely a big show, just not huge. And so it's cool to be able to see stuff like that, just because to have different aspects, and then you guys coming out from the West Coast. I mean, that's like you said, that's a treat for us because we never get I've gone every year for about 5 or 6 years, and never saw an Aspen booth. So that's why I said, when I turned that corner, I was like, oh, this area that usually usually there's not much there, because what used to be there was it used to be where the food was at. And so I just I saw they expanded, so I went down and I was like, oh wow, and then I saw you guys, I was like, oh, so I mean, I'm not trying to downplay your spot and say that it wasn't good, because honestly I think it was that pleasant surprise that probably drew a lot more people to that area, because it's like this is the edge of the con, but there's still something really awesome over on this side. So it was great to have you guys back. So if you do come back, trust me, I will be there to go ahead and snap up some things, man.
Chris, I appreciate that. That's the reaction we were hoping for, to be honest. We just, hey, we're here. We get to see you guys. We never get to go out here. It's like the one chance a year we get to go out and meet our East Coast people. So, we hope to be back. And, I love seeing shows like that. They're just, right on the cusp of becoming even bigger and better. Yep. And I don't see why not. I mean, when I think of Boston, I'm like, that's a major metropolitan city. There's no reason why that show shouldn't be as big as New York and San Diego. So I hope it keeps growing. It'll be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope Florida SuperCon grows too, big enough for you. Want to swing down this way through Miami? That would be awesome.
We've done MegaCon before, but never that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty much as far south and east from you guys as you can get. So, will you be doing San Francisco Con? We had a question in the chat there about that.
We don't happen to do that this year. Probably the closest we'll be to that is Big Wow Con, which are past. So I think next year Big Wow will be the closest we get to San Francisco. To be honest, I haven't even really heard about the San Francisco Con until the last few weeks. Now I can't not hear about it. People keep asking me about it. So yeah, if it keeps getting bigger, I think we definitely entertain going.
All right, cool. So another question I had was, you were talking earlier about, I guess, bringing on, new talent, new creators, new artists, right? And you were chasing this one individual down for a while. Are you looking for more, to expand? And what would be the process for somebody who wanted to kind of reach out and, see if they could be a part of Aspen?
That's a good question. Yes, I'm always looking for more talent. That's kind of like my job. I look at it as maybe like an athletic scout. I'm always scouting for the next big thing, and every editor worth his salt doesn't want to miss out on the next big thing. So I'm always like that, and I try to pride myself on being an editor that is always available to new creators who are trying to break in, because I've been there and I know how it is for creators to try to reach out to editors. I mean, it's a cold world out there, especially in comics, where editors are just up their own butt, and they don't want to, reach out or talk to new people, which I don't understand. I think it's kind of counterproductive to their exact role in the industry, but I see it all the time, especially with writers. I feel like writers in general get the shaft when it comes to just being able to submit or show their work or show their value. There really is no mechanism in place for aspiring comic book writers to really show their stuff beyond, hey, I self-published my own book and I put myself half in debt. Here's what I got. And even then, a lot of editors will still be like, well, this isn't what we're looking for. Move along. For me, I tend to be the opposite. If you're, if you know a little bit about my social media, I always tend to, respond to everybody who asks me. We have open submissions at any point. People can email me, vince@aspencomics.com. Send me their submissions. I look at everybody's art. I try to respond to everybody. You can also send to my assistant editor, Gabe@aspencomics.com. He's also really, good at helping people to just, be on our radar. And I think right now that's really what we kind of offer. We're really selective. I mean, we only do, between 10 to 15 to 20 new titles a year, and there's only so many roles within those projects that we can fill up. And oftentimes, like you mentioned, I mean, we have creators like Sia Ohm or Talon Caldwell. I mean, those guys are amazingly talented. So for new creators, it's tough. I mean, you're basically trying to get into the big leagues of art, and I think the best thing to do is reach out to either me or Gabe at the addresses I mentioned. Find us on Facebook, and just send me a message. That's the easiest way. I don't try to be too policy oriented or hey, go to our website. I mean, if you're good, I want to see your stuff. You know what I mean? I don't need to put you through 10 different channels or different hoops to get your stuff noticed. For writers, it's a little tricky. I won't lie, as I mentioned before. That's not to say, though, the same process I just mentioned for artists works for me as well. I mean, I know a lot of guys right now that are just kind of on my radar. They'll reach out to me and say, look, I want to be a writer. Here's what I've done. Here's what I'm working on. Just kind of buddying up to editors. I mean, that's kind of a sad thing to say that, hey, like, buddy up to the guys that are hiring, but you got to get on their radar. You got to be able to, like, say, look, this is what I want. This is what I'm doing. Here's what I can offer. And on my side, I look at it. You never know. I've had moments where I'm like, no, I have nothing for you. Sorry. And then 2 weeks later, somebody throws a project on my lap, and I'm like, I need that guy. Where was that guy who said he'd do that instantly? You know what I mean? So it's kind of putting yourself in a position to succeed. But I encourage anybody listening, anybody watching, anybody who checks out your page, feel free to just message me on Facebook or find me through social media. I will always respond. I will always send you to the right people, me being one of them, Gabe being one of them. That's the best way. You got to kind of get your foot in the door and just kind of put yourself out there. That's always the scariest part, but you got to take that risk. And I tell everybody, do that. Just reach out to me. I will respond.
Excellent. And I put a couple of links for not your email, but a couple of the links for Aspen down, and there's a description box for this, so they'll be able to click through those. And if you want, I can put that there. I know you said it here, and they can listen through, but yeah, it would be a quick reference point to have it down there as well. So okay, cool. So the other, I guess, is kind of the last question I had. So open it up here to the panel or to the chat for anything you guys have. But and I know you kind of touched on this before. But we're going into the fall season now, the final quarter of 2016. What can we expect from Aspen, as we're heading towards the end of the year here?
Yeah, we're going to be winding down some of our titles that have already been going on this summer. And then publishing in general, comic book publishing kind of gets a little quiet around November and December. But that's not to say we have one book coming out, Sia Ohm's Lola XOXO, which is our best-selling title right now at the moment.
That's true. Volume 2.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, you guys came prepared. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
That was our biggest hit last year. Sia Ohm is a brilliant creator. She's basically the perfect storm of what I think people are looking for in comics right now. She's a female creator. She writes, she draws, she colors. She's just a total package, and I think at the end of the day, she puts her heart in everything, which is why we hired her. I'm not one of those editors that just hires people because of their gender or just because they're a certain color. I'm a Hispanic writer, so for me, I find that to be really shallow. to turn around and just hire somebody to fill a quota. I'm not that guy. I know a lot of people have different opinions on that. I believe a writer should be, good no matter what they can do. I mean, I don't think an African American writer is the only person who can write an African American character. Same with a Latino character. So I was tough on Sia. I didn't hire her right off the bat, and she knew that. She just kind of wanted to get better and better, and she did exactly what I mentioned before. She kind of, sent me her work, showed me what she was doing, and I was blown away. I thought this person is so talented. This project she's working on is so amazing that I had to give her the shot. So that's coming out in September. From there, that'll go on through the early part of 2017 already. And then we have those 6 books I mentioned that we released the teasers on. I encourage everybody to go to our Facebook, and we're going to be posting, actually, probably starting tomorrow, some more of those teaser images to give people kind of an idea of what we have planned. We're going back to the classics. We're not going to mess around this year and do things that we think may be a hit. We're going to go to ones our fans love, Fathom, Soulfire, Bubblegum, a few of the other ones from the teasers I'll let people find out on their own. But we're going back to what people love about Aspen Comics and going full force on those titles. So 2017, it's going to be a real clean-cut schedule, just books that we could put our heart and soul into. We're not going to go overboard with 10, 20 titles a month. We really want to just focus on putting out really high-quality, specific titles, put our heart and soul into them. We're not worried about making profits. We're not worried about selling 50,000 copies. We just want to put out the best possible stories we can, and hopefully people agree. I mean, if they don't, they don't. All we can do is try to get the best creators possible. We have great fans. We try to just be comic book fans. I mean, we love reading comics. We don't need the gimmicks. We don't need all this, just fake stuff that people are trying to make into comics these days. We just want to go back to the old school style of having fun reading them, collect them, just enjoy reading them, put them down, grab the next one. Those are the fans we want, and I think that's what we're going to be showing people in 2017.
Awesome. I'm excited for it. I've told people in the past I'm trying to cut down my pull list, but I'm making it easier on me, man.
Oh, you guys should. I'll get you on the comp list. Don't tell your reader or your fans, but yeah. You guys all on the comp list. You'll get set up. Trust me.
Very cool. Do you guys have any questions for him? Chris, Edwin, Justin?
Yeah, I got a question. I will admit I haven't been in Aspen for quite a while, but I will say that once you kind of did this whole revamping with Michael Turner's artwork, it did spark an interest again. And a lot of that mostly has to do with because I was on a 20-year hiatus from comic books. They just were too expensive, so on and so forth. But anyways, for new readers and somebody such as myself who wants to get back into Aspen Comics, can you give me a couple of 2 or 3 trades that I could just dive right into that maybe are top sellers for you guys? Because I do realize that the best stories, in my opinion, have always been with independent titles. I read IDW, I read a lot of Image. Do you have a couple of trades that you could recommend that new readers or people who are not used to Aspen could really just dive right into?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. There are 3 trade paperbacks I think are like the cornerstone of, if you're looking to get into Aspen, these are the ones that really will hook you. One being Michael Turner's Fathom Definitive Edition, which that one is basically a mix of his original 14 issues, the classic ones he did, with the new Aspen extended issues in the back. So it's a mix of the old stuff and the new stuff. And, for us, I go back to the 90s and the early 2000s of comics, and there was a lot of bad. People always point back to that era as, things that went wrong in terms of holofoil covers and multiple, 200,000 print run on different covers. But there really was a fun time about where the art and just the story would pop off the page. And I think this book, The Fathom Definitive, really captures that. It kind of gives readers a sense of why Michael was so kind of iconic back in the day, but it also introduces the characters and that we're still doing stories with today. That's a great book. We sell out of that everywhere we go. That's our biggest seller. Another one is a companion one to that, the Soulfire Definitive, and that's kind of the other cornerstone book that gets you caught up on Soulfire, and it also gives you an idea of what we do at Aspen in terms of our art, our quality, and the story is just brilliant. That, unfortunately, that happened right when Michael passed away. So right in the middle of that trade, we switched over to Joe Benitez for art, but he didn't skip a beat. And that's a gorgeous book. I tell people everywhere, grab that book. And another one I would recommend is Executive Assistant Iris, which is kind of the first hit I'd say we had after, you know, those Fathom and Soulfire books came out. We were kind of treading water a little bit, trying to find that next hit. As an indie publisher, you really need a few cornerstone hits to kind of make your name, make your library stand out. And I would say Executive Assistant Iris by David Wool is really the next big title that we have that I think fans just tend to gravitate towards. David Wool is a great creator. He created Witchblade for Top Cow back in the day. This was kind of his next big title after that. And still going, and we actually have some fun entertainment news to reveal with that that I can't get into too much, but again, I gave you guys a little bit of a juicy tidbit there. That's another book I recommend for the fans. So those three books, the Fathom Definitive, the Soulfire Definitive, and the Executive Assistant Iris Volume 1 trade. You can't go wrong with those three. Beyond that, we have a bunch of other ones that are brand new. We have Bubblegum, as he mentioned before, Carrot's Magic, Journey, which is another J.T. Kroll series that he created. Those are three that I think, are really just kind of encapsulate what Aspen is all about. So I'd recommend any of those 5-6 books to be ones that would be great jumping on points. And you know what? If any of your readers have any other questions, feel free. They can email me as well directly, and I'll give them a whole rundown of anything they want.
Awesome. I had a question, if I can speak. Excuse me. Now, it's saying as you were with the universe kind of starting to cross over in itself, and you also said you didn't want to just throw out a ton of books at a time. What's a number of titles that you're comfortable with that would come across and still give everybody like that full view and feel for Aspen?
We felt that 6 was our number. In 2013, we did this initiative called the 10 for 10, and we quickly realized that we're only like 7 people here. So for us, doing 10 books in a year killed us. Not 10 books, not 10 single issues, just 10 brand new properties. We found that was just too much for us. We're not Boom, we're not IDW. We don't have huge staffs. We're just a group of people, very much like, I always like to say we're like the American chopper of comics. We're a small group. We like to put in high quality on the books we do. We found between 5 and 6 was our lucky number. That allows us to kind of, put our all on the books. I think bad books tend to happen when there's just too many of them out there. I mean, you don't need 17 Wolverine books every month. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of where you run into these like people putting out books just to make money, and we don't want to do that. Like, we can't do that. So for us, I'd say 5 and 6 titles that's what we're going for in 2017. That's probably what we're going to be sticking to for a while. We try to be a boutique publisher.
No, that's really awesome. Just something to give everybody something to look forward to. Is you got that many titles coming out from your company that are going to be pushing ahead with this crossover universe. So that means that's something people can latch onto and then jump from book to book and have that crossover appeal. So that's really awesome.
We wanted to get these characters established and have fun with them before we started to branch out too much.
Right.
Perfect. And there's one last question in the chat, if you don't mind. He's saying it's from That Comic Book Guy, and he's asking, he loves the resurgence of Michael's art. How much more is there, and will there eventually be any more covers, sort of like this, I don't want to call it a project, but you had a certain set that you're going to do. Do you plan to do anything like this in the future as well?
Yeah, a little bit of both. We have a few more covers that we haven't revealed. There are a couple DC ones as well that we've kind of held back on. The guy was prolific. I mean, he drew a lot, and it's kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess. We'd never wish anything upon his passing, but he did leave a lot of art behind. We are coming close to a lot of seeing most of it, and that's always kind of sad, I think, when an artist passes, when you get to see everything he's ever done. But there are a few that we've held back on, and there are a couple DC, and I believe there is a couple Marvel as well that we haven't shown. So yeah, I mean, there's a few surprises left for Turner fans. So We're going to be sparingly. We're going to use those sparingly, though. I'm not going to say it's going to be in the next few months, but we do have plans to release it. We're not going to be jerks and just try to never show his stuff. But we are business, so we want to make sure that we do it in a way where we do well enough off of them, and it's a success, so we can do more. And that's always what it is. I know people saw these Rebirth titles and they thought that, you know, hey, these guys are selling these for this amount, and they're selling out, and they're doing new reprints. And we never once thought, hey, let's try to make more money off this. We always thought, let's try to get more Turner artwork out there to the fans. That's always been our game plan, you know, and we want to do that. There's no advantage to us to have to ever not show Mike's art. So yeah, there's a few juicy covers left. I've seen a couple that are pretty cool, and I think fans definitely, if you're a Turner fan, it's not the end of the road. And you know, even if we did use all of his pieces, we would find new ways to be able to get that art out to people and just keep his name alive. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Excellent. Oh, well, I'm excited. Can't wait for the future, man. Well, and I think that's all the questions we have, unless you guys do have more. But I want to say thank you for, you know, doing this. It really means a lot. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. Like you were saying, editor-in-chief, busy stuff's always happening. So the fact that you're able to take, you know, so much time for us is really appreciative. And love the company. You know, the work that you guys are putting out is phenomenal. So
I appreciate you guys having me, and you know, this was a lot of fun. It sounded like fun when you mentioned it, and then honestly, you know, I always appreciate people such as yourself who are, you know, you guys are helping spread the comic book medium to new places, and you know, I think a lot of times comic book media doesn't get enough praise for what they do in terms of, you know, helping spread the word. There's not that many quality comic book media sites out there, especially run by true fans that are just trying to, you know, explore the medium and help grow it. You know, the bigger sites tend to be more corporate based and worried about sponsorships, stuff like that. So it's really cool what you guys are doing. It's really cool.
thank you. And I really want to be able to kind of formulate this into an article for the website as well. So definitely look for that in the near future here this week. So we'll definitely have something up for you and, you know, for the company as well. So we actually had somebody else pop in here as well. This is Jose, Comics and Stuff. Thank you for joining, man.
Sorry, guys. Vince and the rest of the panel, I apologize. Wifey had an appointment tonight, and I totally forgot, and I had to make sure I could get my baby to sleep, and he wasn't having it tonight. So, but I'm on, and I'm glad. Nice to meet you, Vince. And again, I apologize to the whole panel and everybody. I apologize. I was looking forward to this.
Yeah. All right, no worries there. So the next segment, and you know, we talked about this before, more than welcome to stay, do what you got to do if you need to leave. But we were going to talk about Deadpool. There's been some casting rumors that have come up. You know, some of the, you know, Cable, Copycat is another one. So have you heard about that at all? I mean, what's your guys' take on that?
I'm very excited that some of these 90 books are starting to pay off, and that my X-Men tunnel vision is working out for me. Because when I was a kid and all these things were coming out, man, I was like, oh man, I was in my, like, you know, early teens, and I was just like, oh my God, X-Force, oh my, you know. So it's just like I have a ton of X-Force books, you know, from the very first one with Liefeld and then into Capullo and stuff like that. So I'm so happy that these things are starting to see some type of like heat. So please put more characters. I want to see some. I want to see Cannonball and all the rest. Like they do X-Force movie. Please make my books worth something more. No, but I'm happy for it because Domino's a really cool character. I mean, you know, and it's good to see that they're, you know, branching, being able to incorporate other people in off of his fame. So you know, definitely happy to see that.
I've been telling everybody, you guys watch Deadpool since he pulled up with Cable. Watch it. They got to fill in some type of gaps in there, and I knew Domino was going to be in there. I've been telling him, pick up X-Force, pick up her first appearance, her first appearance, and now you check eBay, it's what, running at 20 plus now, 25, where it was like a $5 book.
And that's the thing. I mean, that literally was like a dollar bin, 50-cent book for like so long. Those actually were books that people were giving out as actual, like, you know, oh, like let me give you this extra copy of this. It's the first appearance. You know what I mean? All those people are probably like, fuck. But you know, that's the way it works, man. You know, one day someone's hot, next thing no one's the, it's just that's just the way that the movies are influencing things.
Hey Vince, you're gonna have to bring out a Turner variant of that one.
I don't think he ever drew Domino, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We can modify one though.
I hear that. Hey, I'm sure this topic was brought up, but I'm gonna ask, man. And again, I'm sorry if it was, but and I'm sure you pretty much went over it. But as far as how Turner had all these kick-ass sketches already done, and now rest in peace, man. The late and legend that he is, but how you guys kind of got all this stuff happening, man. That's awesome. Kudos to the Aspen team, man.
Yeah, I mean, we were always really good about saving his art, and like I said earlier, he was a realist. He had cancer, and he knew that every piece he did at some point might be more meaningful than just a regular cover. And the guy was prolific. I mean, he would draw, and I mean, he was drawing when he was literally having parts of his leg removed for the humor in his, and it was all really gruesome stuff. But this guy was going to conventions and drawing during all this time, so. Yeah, it's amazing to see. I mean, even me who works here, I'm like, wow, I can't believe how much art this guy has that people still haven't seen, and it's a kind of a cool thing, and I would recommend that to any artist. I think, not to be grim or anything, but hey, you never know when your career or your time could be up, so just try to do as much work as possible,
I'm sure he's proud of you guys, man, for what you guys are doing. You're definitely presenting the whole line perfectly. You're doing a great job, so. I'm sure he's pretty proud of you guys, for sure.
Thank you very much.
It's funny, too, because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Go ahead.
No, bro, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it was one of my, big regrets. I remember, he came to one of the Boston Comic-Cons, on a year that I actually had gone away for school. I was going to school out in Arizona, and I remember, that I just wasn't there for it just because, it was, at that point, Boston Comic Con used to be a little earlier in the year, it used to be in April, and so I remember, like, I was in school, I wasn't able to get back, and then, come to find out that, he ended up passing right after that, and I was just like, I always kind of regretted, not getting the chance to meet him just because, I mean, I do feel like, he was just a great creator, and just, I mean, I think he's a kind of a pioneer in the way of that a lot of guys who are out there drawing females the way they do now, definitely had to grab inspiration for him because he changed the way you drew females. Like, I mean, he brought out, so much more, of beauty in them, made them really sexy. Just, he knew how to draw women in a way that nobody else could. And I think a lot of people, I mean, even if you look at like J. Scott Campbell, like that, you can see some of Michael in his stuff, just all these different people that are, bringing in that new element of how to draw a woman in a way that like really just catches the eye, just kind of takes, like, if you have a pitch, like let's say you had, Holly and Joker on a cover, you know what I mean? Eyes going immediately to her just the way he would draw her, just, you know what I mean? Like, he got the women to take center stage on everything. So, I mean, like that's my take on what he did for, his comics. I mean, I remember the stuff he used to do for DC with, there'd be the Trinity, it'd be, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman always, like, what was the standout in every single one. I was just like, that's it. Like, Superman, all right, he looks cool, but, like, I'm looking at her every single time. So it's just like, I really do wish I got the chance to meet him. But, I'm glad to be able to say I own some of his stuff. I'm glad to be able to read it, and just to be able to say that, he was just that great of an artist to make me want to, keep collecting that type of stuff. Like that's, I mean, his legacy lives on through the trades and everything, and then just through other people who try to keep his style alive. So he's a special guy.
To add on to what Chris is saying, definitely on the two of my list of I wish I would have met, Michael Turner, of course, and Nick Hardy, man. Those two artists, oh, dude, it was just, I just never got the opportunity to meet them. But them two for sure.
Yeah, I would have liked to meet Mike Ringo.
Oh, yeah.
I never got a chance to meet him, but I loved his work. I still think his work to this day has been underrated, and he doesn't get nearly as much acclaim after his passing as he should.
Vince, I wanted to ask you a question. I was watching a documentary on YouTube about Turner, and I saw, was it Mark Silvestri? Mm-hmm. Does he still have any ties to Aspen Comics at all?
No, honestly, when Top Cow and Michael Turner parted ways, it was a little messy. I think there was a little animosity there back in the day in 2002 and 2003. They squashed that finally, and basically Mike was able to take Fathom and do his thing, and Mark obviously continued on with Top Cow. There's no animosity to this day. There's no real connection anymore. I know Mark is actually doing a cover for us for a special charity project that we had kind of commissioned last year with the Veteran Tickets Foundation. So there will be a Mark Silvestri Fathom cover coming out soon, which is another exclusive I'm giving you guys. So your fans can look forward to that. But no, honestly, he runs Top Cow. He does his own thing. They were good friends when they were alive. We're still good friends with Mark today. But you know, in terms of what we do and what they do over at Top Cow, we're very separate at this point. We're good friends. I'm very good friends with Alan over at Top Cow, and you know, we trade secrets, and it's all good. I know a lot of fans and a lot of industry people think that Top Cow and Aspen have this ongoing feud from what happened back in the day, but that's completely false. We're all good. We talk to them, they talk to us. We do occasionally trade business ideas, and maybe we should do this, or maybe we should do that. I know a lot of fans have always asked about a Top Cow Aspen crossover, which we've talked about with them back and forth, and again, it's just something we didn't want it to get too gimmicky with it. But right now, no. I mean, I'm friends with Mark. I talk to him every once in a while, and I see him at cons, and we chat it up. But he does his thing, we do ours, and we wish Top Cow all the best. I mean, they're in the same boat we are in terms of trying to be an indie company that can make their mark in an industry where fans are very much kind of drilled to follow certain companies. So, I wish them all the best, just like I do Valiant, just like I do Dynamite. A lot of companies in this industry, particularly those ones I just mentioned, are very close-knit, and we're all kind of really friendly with each other. There are a few publishers I wouldn't put in that category. I won't mention them because I don't want to sit here and talk crap, but it's always good to have a bunch of companies that really look out for each other, and I like I said, Valiant, Dynamite, IDW to some extent are really cool with us. So it's fun. It's great. Top Cow. We like to have those relationships. We're not in this industry to really make enemies or try to step on other people's toes. We're not Marvel and DC, so we're not over here trying to take them down. We understand who we are, and we just try to be good people and make fun stories. So I'd never say no if Mark wants to do something with us. We'd love to get him on the cover, but I'm sure Top Cow as well would like to get him on more covers. So we'll see what happens. It's a good question.
Yeah. I had no idea about any kind of feud. I just know that during the documentary.
People don't. Yeah, no, there's there was a lawsuit.
Okay. What I saw was just a lot of positive talk about getting Michael first started in the drawing and how he was progressing at a pretty fast rate than Mark had thought. Man, what was I gonna say? It seems like we need to get you guys pushed for a movie deal or something, because that seems to be the kicker for a lot of comic book companies. So.
Oh, yeah. We've had meetings, and we've Fathom was actually optioned a couple years back, and that was going to be produced by a different production company, but it just wasn't going in the right direction we wanted to. We've had a lot of opportunities. We don't want to just give away something and then have it be turned into crap, and we're very concerned about that. And we'll be honest, a lot of our books are really fantasy, action, adventure based, and unless it's a deal that could really be something big budget, I mean, it would just be kind of crappy, and we didn't want to option something just to get it out there. I think a lot of comic book movies tend to be made that way, and that's how you get Cowboys versus Aliens, or what was that a while back? It's just
oh my gosh.
Things that should have never been optioned in the first place that kind of get pushed into these movie roles when that could have been a really great movie, or that could have been Why the Last Man or Saga or something else. That's what bothers me, is that these movies get optioned from nothing. And I'm like, well, what? Nobody liked the comic book. How did that become a movie when there's all these other books that have never seen the light of day? I mean, really good books from, I'd love to see a Cerebus movie or something like Usagi Yojimbo. It's like, give me some of these cool indie books that have been out that people really do love, and we just didn't want to contribute to that and just do anything for money. And we do have a couple cool things in the works that we'll be announcing soon. So keep your eyes peeled, because I agree with you. We need a few of those to really get our name out there, and we're definitely working in that direction right now.
Hey Vince, that Lola title looks good too. I think it's the penciler is Sija Om. If I mispronounce the name, I apologize.
Yeah, Sia Om. Yeah.
Her artwork is kick ass, man. It's pretty sweet.
Oh, she's brilliant. She's brilliant, and she's also she's highly interested in getting that adapted into film as well. And I know she's actually been working on her own kind of business opportunities with that stuff. So yeah, that book is really popular, and we love that book. So for us, we'd love to see that put into something other than just comics. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Hey, a question for you. First of all, how did Boston go for you guys? And do you have any more pudding packs?
We're sold out of the pudding packs. Those things went in like an hour.
I lost out on my opportunity. I kept on hitting enter. I got 2 copies of the color and the other one, so I'm happy with those.
Well, I'll tell you what. If I come across a pudding pack, I'll put it aside for you and send it your way.
Thank you.
I think they asked earlier about Boston, but I'll say it again. We did well. The show was fun. We haven't been out to Boston ever for a con, so that was our first year, and we love it. I mean, our East Coast fans are diehard. I mean, West Coast fans are loyal, but they're laid back. I mean, we're a laid back kind of people out here, but going to the East, it's always fun. You guys really bring the passion, and you guys are true fans in every sense of the word when it comes to anything. And I love the East Coast. I am from LA, so there's a little bit Boston sports animosity, but it's always good. I love the East Coast. I love everyone out there. I love the vibe. I just love the energy that you guys bring out there. And Boston went well. We hope to go back next year. And like I said, we're planning more East Coast stuff because we love getting out there. And damn it, if it's expensive, we don't care. We're going to get out there and really try to meet more of our fans and see you guys as much as we can,
Definitely. Well, I know Chris is from Boston, and he and I don't have any problems being on the panel. I got this New York Yankees hat on, so.
I with my Patriots, so
There you go. It's all good.
We don't even have a football team. Oh yeah, we do have a football team. See?
LA Rams, they came back.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait to see if they actually win a game first before we start talking any game. Especially to a New England fan.
It's all right. You gave us Brady, so it's cool.
Hey Vince, I wanted to ask you: has anybody asked you as an editor to sign any comics?
Yeah, I do get asked a lot. I tend to tell them, look, man, if you want an editor to sign it, your eBay value is going to probably drop, but if you still want me to do it, I'll do it. I've written a lot, thankfully, so I've written, over a couple hundred of our books, so at least I can sign those. But yeah, I always tell people, I'm like, you don't want an editor to sign it. I actually got in trouble recently with our letterer because he was about to sign a book, and I'm like, you really want him to sign it? I mean, he's the letterer. He's going to probably bring the value down, but hey, I'm honest, you know what I mean? I realize some of these guys are going to eBay this, hopefully, so.
I had a shitload of books signed by Shooter, man, with a big smile on my face when
he's a legend, you know what I mean? Once you get to that level, I think, heck, yeah, I mean, I'll have Jim Shooter sign my books. I don't care. But, I'm pragmatic. I understand, look, your CGC value is going down if I sign it versus Scott Snyder or somebody like that,
What was it? Snyder up in Boston as well?
Oh yeah, he was there. I got to meet him. Yep.
Oh, that's right. I saw your picture.
Yeah, that variant we did was one of his books. I think the All-Star Batman or the Suicide Squad or something. Yeah, one of them.
All-Star. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Man, Aspen's definitely coming out with some sweet books, man. Bravo to you guys. Bravo.
Thank you.
Got some more questions, you guys?
Yeah, I wore my black T-shirt. It has a retro Mickey Mouse on it. Since we were going to talk about Superman's black suit, but over that topic, I'm so late.
No, we didn't.
Hey, don't feel bad. I wore a Walking Dead Skybound shirt because I forgot I'm over here doing an interview today in a different publisher's shirt. So.
Hey, I didn't wear my indie publishing company one today, the GOBK Studio, so it was dirty and it stunk like wet puppies, so I figured I'd wear it.
Yeah, it's funny you have that shirt on.
Right now, I'm in Florida, so we're kind of close with the heat.
Yeah, that's right. Walking Dead made me think. I think Lola could work really well as a show like that, maybe like a Netflix show. I think that would be perfect for that.
You know, I think Netflix is really killing it right now with a lot of their content. So, I mean, I would love that. I'm a big fan of the episodic 1-hour drama stuff for The Walking Deads. You know, even though I didn't really care for Preacher, I won't lie. I didn't think that was well done as a TV show, which sucked because there was so much weight for that. But I love that. I would love that. I mean, any of our properties, if they got picked up for Netflix, I think I'd be over the moon. I just love what they're doing right now. And the same with HBO and a little bit of AMC as well and Showtime. And, you know, I think a lot of the TV networks right now are driving the creative force behind a lot of the good entertainment. No, that'd be great. If you can make it happen, do it. Tell the fans.
Outcast is kicking butt, man. If you guys haven't,
I haven't seen that yet, but I do want to see that. That looks great.
Ooh, it's good. It's really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna check it out then.
Yeah, I was gonna say any sort of I guess animated you know, type features or just anything like that. Or do you think that would be kind of too tough to put it onto an animated? You know what I mean?
I think it's doable. Honestly, you know, animation is one of the few avenues where we just have had little interaction with animation companies. I don't know if it's just maybe we're not hitting the right people or they're just not reaching out to us, but we've had little conversations here and there with certain production companies, but just has never found the right kind of realm to make it work. It's really funny. I think a lot of comic book publishers haven't cracked the animation nut yet in terms of getting books out there. I know DC does probably the most.
Yeah.
You know, but you know they're obviously in a position to be able to put out their own things like that. But no, I agree. I think, you know, animation and comic books are like a perfect synergy for each other. And I don't understand why more animation companies aren't reaching out to publishers to try to get some of these books out there. I mean, I personally think like a book like Saga again would be a brilliant thing to put out there in an animated kind of, you know, I don't even know. You could do a movie, you could do a TV series. You know, I was a big fan of that Spawn cartoon back in the day that HBO did. And, you know, I feel like where are the chances like that anymore that the companies are taking? Because that book, that cartoon was dark and it was kind of really loyal to the source material. And it was just fun. It made me want to watch that cartoon, and I didn't even read the book. You know, I think we need more stuff like that. Just take the source material and just adapt it in a true way, in a true sense, to the way people liked it, you know, and see what happens. You know, I loved it. So, you know, if any animation companies are listening, we'll definitely be interested.
Yeah, that's a really good question because my wife, she actually watches a lot of anime, and recently, since DC has been doing the anime, she actually has been getting into that a lot more. So I think it would definitely be a good step for Aspen Comics because it just brings a whole new life to the characters and to the title. And my wife has even gotten interest into certain titles because of the animation that has been done by DC. And hey, I think maybe you just need to go on over to Japan or Korea or something like that, because they love to draw over there. They're the ones putting that stuff out like it's water.
It's funny you mention that because I believe one of the I don't want to say specifically because I can't remember which country it was, but one of the Asian markets did reach out to us about doing an animated film, and they were actually the most serious and actually had the most kind of funding. And you know, those markets over in Asia, they don't play, man. They just bring money and spend it. I wish the American companies were a little bit more like that, more willing to just take risks, because we run into that a lot where, you know, just it always comes down to money. It always comes down to financial kind of limitations. And, you know, I think the public perception of animation still is just that it's, you know, a kid's market still. And I think people are wrongly kind of stuck to that ideology of, hey, look, animation is not for everybody. But I'm like, animation is not a genre. It can be anything. You know, you can turn animation into high drama. You got to figure out how to do it. You know, and so no, I 100% agree with everything you guys said. I mean, if we could get a chance to do something like that, we'll jump all over it. To be honest, though, it's just one of those avenues where we just haven't had any traction yet.
So somebody mentioned in the chat, Usagi Yojimbo. Is that a property that you guys?
No, I mentioned that because I really like that book. So I was that should be an animated movie. You know.
Yeah.
There's books like that, you know, Bone, I think, Cerebus. I think there was a generation of indie books that people have kind of forgot about that, you know, I think Hellboy was one of those in the very end that, you know, was a perfect example of, look, this was a major book for indie people back in the day, and look at what it did and when you translate it to a film, you know. And I think books like, you know, Strangers in Paradise, you know, like I said, Usagi Yojimbo, and you know, again, Bone. I mean, those books were what really created the indie market, and I kind of feel like the modern fan has forgot about those ones, you know, and we wouldn't be here today doing indie books without those creators. So, you know, I'd love to see some of those old school indie books get made.
It's funny you mentioned all three of those creators are at Boston Comic Con.
Right?
Yeah, Terry Dutz and I mean, sorry, Moore and also what's his name?
Definite.
Yes. All three of them were out there. It was just like, I mean, and it was crazy. Just like, you know, you just look out there and you just be like, you know, because you look at Bone and just like, you know, it's just a little white guy, you know, a little Casper the Ghost-looking character doing it. But I mean, ultra popular. I remember, you know, just seeing it everywhere back in the day. And then, you know, Usagi Yojimbo kind of had like I got introduced to him through the Ninja Turtles cartoon because I remember, you know, there was a sword fight between him and Leonardo, and he beat Leonardo, and then that was the only. And I remember buying the toy, so I was like, you know, and I never really, I didn't know about the books. I was too young, and then, you know, Strangers in Paradise, so it was like one of those like, you know, risque books at the time when I was young, and they're like, you can't be what, you know. Like, cause you know, show girls and bras and all the rest of that stuff. You're like, oh shit, you know. I was like maybe like 9 or 10 when I saw that book the first time. But I mean, yeah, it's just like, you know, those guys. And it's funny too, cause like, you know, I think sometimes those are the titles that kind of get, you know, taken to the side. But the great part about them is that, you know, they're all different as far as what they bring to the table. You know, like Bone is not like Usagi Yojimbo, and neither one of them are like Strangers in Paradise. It's just like, you know, they're all just, you know, have their own like little niche, and that's what I think helped make them into what they became. You know, helped them to stay so long on that indie market, as well as Hellboy, because Hellboy was, you know, just kind of, you know, completely different from off of that too. And I mean, kind of redefined, you know, how you could do like, you know, a monster comic and also, you know, a crime comic in the same type of, you know, genre. It's just like, you know, like that book was just revolutionary for those things.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, Bone. I don't understand how that one hasn't been animated yet. Like, you could do what MTV did with the Max back in the day, and just go panel for panel on the screen and animate it, and it would be like such an easy transfer, you would think. But I guess whatever behind the scenes has probably kept it from happening. But you would think that it'd be something that would have been pushed out there.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like one of those characters that easily should be on something. I mean, he looks easily. I mean, I don't know this because I'm, you know, I don't animate as far as, you know, 2D or anything like that. But it looks like somebody who would easily be animatable. I mean, someone that, you know, depending on how you want to go with this story, could, you know, be relatable to any kind of age group. I mean, that's the way I see when I look at Bone. It's just like, okay, you know, you can have an adult story with him, or you could have, you know, more of a lighthearted kid type story with him as well.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, have you guys thought about doing a Kickstarter, GoFundMe? Because the reason why I asked is because I was checking out Cyberforce maybe a couple years ago, and they actually did the first 5 issues for free, but that was because they were doing a Kickstarter. Have you guys thought about something like that?
Yeah, we've explored different options. You know, there's never been anything that we felt like was worthy of putting that out there in a way where we felt like we needed to ask for more than just the fans buying our books. We're not opposed to it because I think Kickstarter is a great source, and I recommend it to a lot of creators. Like, look, if you want to get your project put out there into the world and you can't find a publisher, just Kickstart it. I mean, people are funding projects on Kickstarter, so it's proven to be successful. For us, we just haven't found the right thing that we felt like we needed it. You know, and I think a little bit is intimidation. We were like, well, we could do it, but you know, once you put it out there, and as a publisher, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things we're kind of hesitant about. We're like, we already kind of asked for the fans' money on the titles. Do we want to ask for crowdfunding as well? And then at the end of the day, we just went back to, well, there's just nothing we had that kind of fit that mold where we needed to get it out via crowdfunding. And I guess that's a good thing because hopefully, you know, we're still able to always finance our own books. But, you know, we've thought about it, and we'll definitely explore more of it in the future. And if there is something that works, I'm not opposed to it. We just haven't found anything right now that we felt like needed to be kickstarted. But like I said, I'll always leave the door open because I think it's a great platform. anything that gets creators to create and gets people out there that didn't get a chance or don't have a chance, that allows them to put out their own creation, I think is a good thing. So, I full-heartedly advocate it for anybody, but I also, we just haven't found the right fit yet for our titles to do it.
What are your thoughts about digital comics, and are digital sales good for you guys?
Our digital sales right now, I can tell you, are about probably in the ballpark of 15 to 25% of what our print sales are. So, we do good. I'm not gonna lie, we do best on Comixology, but it's still there's a lot of room for growth in that realm. I think we just can't rely solely on digital at the moment. But I love it. I mean, I was one of the early pioneers over here of like, hey, let's get on digital. And I've been pushing since day one to really get all of our titles out there. I 100% believe that kids these days are really shifted over to smartphones and tablets. And as much as it pains me, because I feel like they're missing out on the experience of going to a comic book store and picking up that book every week. It's really not just about the book. It's more about the sense of community you get from a comic book store and the meeting the people at the store. I just think that's an experience that should be kind of lived by every kid growing up. But I realize a lot of kids nowadays, they just don't understand that whole world. So if we get our books out there and get them reading, as long as they're reading comic books, I'm okay with it. But I would still hope that a lot of kids would try to get into a comic book store, because they just don't know what they're missing out on. There's still good ones out there, and I think at the end of the day, any retailer out there who's still trying to sell comics for a living, they must love comics, because it's a brutal market and it's not easy to keep a comic book store open. So, kudos to anybody doing it, and we're still going to do print as long as we possibly can. We'll never switch just to digital only. So, I hope they both succeed, but I still hope print always is kind of the preferred method of delivery for our books.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't go completely digital. It's too hard. I need the feeling of the book in my hand.
Yeah, everyone, you want that feeling. It's a feeling. You can't explain it.
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly. We had a question, actually, from Stephen Payne, Payne's Comics. He's all the way across the pond in the UK, so he's pretty far away. He's wondering if you, I guess I'll kind of preface it by asking, do you have any sort of say over the creators and the conventions and the appearances that they do, or are they completely independent with that?
We do and we don't. I mean, a lot of promoters directly approach us about certain creators, and we kind of go from there. But we're not that type of company, honestly. Okay. If the promoters reach out directly to our creators, we're fine with that. It works both ways, especially for like out of the country conventions. I would say reach out to us, because a lot of times what happens is the creators will just forward any correspondence directly to us and say, are they legit? Are this a real con? What should we do? Like, we don't want to, step on any feet. So if there is people out there, or con promoters or fans who want to see us at any specific country or city they're in, talk to your promoters, have them reach out to me or anybody here at Aspen. We're not hard to find in terms of our contact info. So, we love traveling and we love to go see our fans. So if there's a country or city out there that's like, hey, you guys have never been here and you want to see us out there, just talk to your con promoters. Have them either reach out to us or they can reach out to the creator. We'll do either way, We're not partial. We just we love to get out there. So however you reach out to us, we'll make it happen.
Very cool. I think you'll love that, and especially Sia. He really wants to get her out there.
Asking about. She's the talent that everybody asks about nowadays, and she loves going to different places and meeting fans. So as long as it works within her schedule, we'll try to make it happen. So there's no danger in asking us, is what I always tell people. So let them know if they want to see us at their country or city, they can always talk to the promoter and they can reach out to us.
Okay, cool.
Vince, I noticed that Turner did a lot of female, but what was the ratio to female and male? Because I was really surprised when I saw the Harley Quinn, which I do have. I got both of the sketch variant and the regular one. But I also got the Joker coming. I was really surprised that he even did that. Did he do just as many males as he did females, or mostly females?
I wouldn't say that he probably did equal amounts. I think Mike was always known for drawing the strong, female characters, and he started his career on Witchblade, so that kind of already put him in the driver's seat to really capitalize on drawing a lot of females. But he did draw a lot of guys. I mean, people forget that Fathom has a lot of like topless dudes in it. It's a water story, and they're not all about the main character. Everybody focuses on her, but he drew a lot of dudes, and he even did the like a male pinup book with some of the Fathom characters back in the day when that was kind of taboo, when you couldn't even get away with that type of stuff. But I mean, his bread and butter was women, so I'd say it's probably about 70-30. 70-30, 65, 45, you know what I mean? Like 35, it's more women, I would say, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you're good at something, I would always say, why get out of your ballpark? Just do what you do well.
Hey, Vince, I'm curious, what are you reading back there? What's on your read list behind you? I see
right here?
Graphic novels. What you got up there?
Well, I was telling the guys earlier, this is actually not my desk. This is our director of production, Mark Roslin's. He's got a whole DC thing here because we get all the DC comps every month. I don't know if they even know they're sending us these DC comps. They probably do.
He's got a nice Hulk statue too.
Oh yeah, no, that's the Savage Dragon actually.
Oh, nice. No way.
There you can tell. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll give you the.
I'm not. I gotta work on mine there, but side pose.
I've seen a lot of Blackest Night though. It seems like he's a big Green Lantern guy. Transmetropolitan, Batman, Northlanders, which I really dug that series from Image. Or no, I'm sorry, Vertigo. It's all Batman, dude. I don't know. He's got a DC fetish going over here, so we might have to talk to him.
Might have to have a talk with him.
Have a private meeting. Just
like we got Homer Simpson somewhere around here. Yeah, there's just a. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff, but it's not my desk, so I don't know. I'll trash it, but I don't know what's here.
Yeah, it looks like you guys get along well, man. You got nice camaraderie. I'm always reading your posts on Facebook. Looks like you got a good team over there.
We're just a bunch of idiots that started a comic book company, so
welcome
for us,
to the club.
we just like to have fun,
I saw something you guys did. You set up this thing in the middle of the office, I guess, and you were throwing a batarang.
Oh yeah. Someone will bring in a dangerous weapon like that, and eventually, inevitably, somebody will get hurt, and then we'll have to have a talk about why we can't bring in dangerous weapons into the office. So it doesn't stop us, but yeah, the batarang was one of the more dangerous ideas that we had, and we lost it. It broke. I won't tell you how, but it broke. Nobody died, though.
Nice.
Hey, Vince, if you had to cosplay as a character, who would you cosplay as?
Probably Batman because he has the most bulges to kind of hide stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I have amazing admiration for cosplayers because I could never probably bring myself to do that because you gotta have balls of steel, especially the guys who do the spandex Spider-Mans and the Deadpools and the ones that really show every crevice. I couldn't do it, but I'd probably pick Batman. At least he seems like the coolest one. Plus, you could cover your face, so that'd be good.
Do you guys see some Aspen cosplay? Some Aspen characters cosplay?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot because half the characters, the guy ones, are either like topless dudes or like ripped six-pack guys. I'd have to pick kind of a medium, chubby Latino guy. I don't know, actually. Yeah, that's a good question. It's funny. You'd think I'd have an answer to that, but you might be the first person to ask me what Aspen character I'd cosplay. Yeah, I don't know. Stay tuned.
No, I was actually asking. Do you guys see Aspen characters cosplay at conventions?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant me. I got all conceited. No, actually we do. Yeah, we do see a lot. I can't lie. That's one of the bonuses of our job is that all of our characters are these gorgeous female, kind of strong warrior chicks, and when you see them cosplay, it's always a blast. We have a lot of female fans. People don't think we do because we put out a lot of female books, but we have more female fans than male fans. I mean, they really gravitate towards our characters because they're female. And yeah, I mean, we do cosplay contests all the time, and if you go on our Facebook, you can really see, I mean, we have photo after photo of really cool shots. I mean, I recommend anybody who's interested to check it out. At the very least, you'll see a lot of beautiful women dressed as awesome, really exotic characters.
Well, didn't you lose like 75 pounds or something recently?
Yeah, I lost about
Get in
50.
that Batman suit soon, man.
Oh, I need to lose like another 60 to look like Batman, bro. I
Here's the
was,
idea. You
yeah.
dress up as Batman and CJ as like shit, Wonder Woman. Or, no, better yet, let's
We'll
do.
do a whole Justice League over here with our own staff, and you'll be highly disappointed.
Well, kudos on the weight loss, brother. I've been there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Here we go.
All right. Anybody?
Jeff Johnson in the chat room wants to know: is there any more Aspen exclusive comic coming out soon?
I'm guessing he's talking about some more of the DC stuff. We do have a few things we're talking about. It won't be anything in the next few months, probably anything till early next year. But yeah, we do a lot of Aspen Store exclusives, not just DC. And we talked to a few other publishers at Comic-Con about some things, so stay tuned because there will be more exciting kind of other publisher news with us.
All right.
Yeah, you guys are getting a lot of exclusives in this interview.
I was actually meant to ask you about that as well. I noticed that you guys did a second print of the Turner Batman. Do you guys foresee more second and third printings, or does it just matter how much DC or whoever is allowing you to have, or how much you sell, or how does that work?
DC does have the final say on reprints, and they did give us approval for the Batman one, and they have given us approval for another one yet. I'm not at liberty to say which one of them it is, but yeah, look out for another reprint on one of them coming up in the next few months. As far as that, like I said, we've been in conversation with them, and there's a few things we've talked about, and we'd like to continue doing it. I mean, it worked out well for us, and we were always happy to see that we were able to get more fans turn our art. So, yeah, definitely, we plan to.
Yeah, I asked because on the Facebook page here at Comic Book Fanatics, they all the guys are really good at keeping everybody else in touch with what's going on. And once I found, because I was really upset that I missed out on the first Turner Batman, but once they said that there was going to be a second print, and you guys actually did a much better job, in my opinion, with the second print, just with the logo and the moon and all that other stuff, and then the color. I thought it was, that's just my opinion, but I thought it was really good. But yeah, but I was disappointed at first, but once they said there was going to be a second print, I was like, oh wow, like this is really awesome. So now I have another opportunity to go get it. So I'm glad that you talked about that, because I mean, you guys literally sell out in like, I was following the Harley Quinn. You guys sold out like within everything in less than like 2 hours.
Yeah, it was insane. We were really ecstatic with the turnout. We couldn't have ever predicted that amount of traffic that hit the site at once. But I mean, it's a good complaint to have. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, like we mentioned, DC has approval on all those reprints. But we always try our best. If we feel like, hey, not enough fans were able to get that specific cover, we'll do what we can to try to accommodate more and get more Turner art in the right hands. It's at the end of the day, though. I mean, that's DC's call, and we always respect it, and we try to do as much as we can within the framework of what they allow us to do.
It's a good sign when it sells out within a couple hours.
Yeah,
We think so.
Very good sign. And
I like how you went to the waves for the later books. You were selling them in waves. I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah, the guys coordinated that, Frank and Chris over at the Aspen store, and his staff over there, Becky and Adam. I mean, they deserve the lion's share of the credit for really taking on the responsibility of managing that, making sure that they did it in a way where enough fans were able to get their copies in a manner that they didn't feel like it was like Ticketmaster where they just never got a shot. That's why we came up with the wave idea, and I think it worked well. At the end of the day, with a book that's that hot, you can't please everybody. So there was inevitably going to be some people that felt left out. But we felt at the end of the day we tried our best and really put together the biggest amount of copies that we could to get into as many hands as possible.
Here's a personal question for you, Vince. At what age did you get into the industry, and what got you in the industry?
I don't have one of those like inspirational stories like everybody has, where it's like their dream to work in comics. I just needed a job. And my brother worked at Top Cow at the time, and was like, "You should get into comics. You'd like it. You would like to read them already." And this place Top Cow is hiring, and as it turned out, I started on my birthday, on my 18th birthday, because I was literally the earliest they could possibly hire me there, which I still don't understand because I looked at the laws at the time and they couldn't have, or they could have, but you know, that was my first kind of day of working in comics, my 18th birthday, and last June was my 36th, so I've spent half my life working in and around the comic book industry.
Good
Fun
for
time.
you. Good for you. Where did you start off, in the mailroom, and you worked the way all the way up?
You could say it was a mailroom. It was basically a cubicle out in the middle of the Top Cow offices. Back at the time, they had this ginormous, oversized suite that they never should have had, and they had like this row of 5 cubicles, 3 cubicles that nobody was using. So I just took one, and I just kind of posted up there. I was right outside Mark Silvestri's door, and I think it was a couple of months before he even realized I was there. But that's kind of how I started. You know, I worked with Frank, who I mentioned earlier, and we kind of formed our own little niche of hardworking people there, and you know, just kind of did our thing and made contacts, met a lot of creators, and then when they went off, started Aspen, you know, I tagged along, and it's been good times. You know, comics it can be really frustrating at times, especially for indie creators, but I wouldn't want to do anything else. You know, it's the most rewarding, I think, entertainment medium out there. It's the most, you know, it allows you the most creative freedom to tell the stories you want to tell. And at the end of the day, it's like I show up and I make comic books all day. So for me, you know, it's the job that you'd want to have, I think. So, you know, I have no complaints. It's fun. And like I said, I've been doing it so long that it's always kind of a challenge to find new kind of things that kind of spark the passion in terms of like creative projects. But that's really the fun of it. So, no, I mean, it's a great job.
Well, you say it's not an inspirational story, but I mean, it was always been my dreams to be in the industry. You know, back in the day when I was in my teens living in New York, you know, just my whole dream was always to be a pencilist, a drawer. You know, not right now I'm dabbling with inking and coloring for this indie publishing company I'm with right now. But you claim it's not inspirational, but believe you me, it is inspirational.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, if my story can help inspire anyone, I always feel like that's, you know, that's a plus. And, you know, it's awesome. I mean, you know what? You're a penciler once you put some lines down on paper, so you don't have to get paid to be a penciler. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think, you know, it's good. Follow your dream and keep doing it, man, because you never know. It's all about putting yourself in the right position to succeed. So I think you just got to kind of keep pushing forward and hope for the best.
Well, you always give very good advice to people who would be interested in getting in. I mean, again, I follow your Facebook page, and I see how you are open, you know, to people sending you their portfolios, I guess, for a lack of a better word. So, you know, kudos to the Aspen team for that.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. We try to be as accessible as possible. I mean, that's, you know, we're just a bunch of guys making comics, so there's no air of entitlement or elitist about us. You know, we always try to respond to our fans. We love our fans. Without you guys and without people out there supporting us, we would be nothing. So, you know, we would never turn around and disrespect the fans or not at least be out there for you guys to, you know, answer questions or be there when you need us.
Vince, I think I have one last question. How important is an editor, and what are like the top 3 things that you look for immediately with a book?
When I'm like publishing, when we're producing the book?
Yeah, as far as before it gets sent out to be printed, what are the top 3 things that you look for?
Oh, I think, you know, at the end of the day, the biggest thing is it entertaining? Is it something that, you know, is it worth the price that you're putting on the cover? For me, I look at certain things like story. Obviously, to me, the story is the most important part. I know comics are story and art, but I'm a strong believer that if the story's not good, I mean, the art could be amazing, but you know, you're only going to get those people that just buy it for the art. You know, second, obviously, is the talent you have on the book. A book lives or dies by the talent you have. I mean, we've had amazing projects that we thought would be huge hits, but, you know, unfortunately, sometimes you might get the wrong talent on a project and it just doesn't turn out the way you want it. On the flip side of that, when you get a really talented creator or team, sometimes they can turn a project around and make it something completely better than you originally anticipated. So I think talent, and you need the best possible editor, which thankfully we have, you know, so little kudos to myself there. But no, seriously, I think at the end of the day, you really need a solid team. You really just, it's got to be entertaining, and you need a solid story, I think. I don't think comics these days, you can get away with just having great art like you used to do back in the day.
Yeah, not for much more than an issue or two.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I have one last question. I had it before and I completely forgot to ask. It's completely off subject, but I'm really curious. What did you do at Def Jam? What was your job there?
That was actually kind of a job that I did through comics as well. David Wool, who I mentioned earlier, was the creator of Witchblade. Yeah, I don't know how he got involved with Def Jam Entertainment, but some way or another, he was brought on to write the story for one of their video games. Back in the day, they used to do this series called Def Jam: The Takeover, and it was basically a bunch of rappers beating the crap out of each other in a fighting game.
Yep.
Don't ask how I needed a story for these games, but for one of the games they did, and he brought me on to help write it, and it was actually the first thing I'd ever written. I had no idea what I was doing. I hated every second of it because writing video games is very tedious, and it's basically one line of dialogue times 10,000. And yeah, we actually did the art with one of our artists, Mike Agunnell, who went on to work for Marvel Animation. He's still there now. It was just a fun project. We basically did all the art. So if you ever do pick up that game, it came out on the old PSP, which I don't know if they even still make that thing. But yeah, that was a game we put together, and you can see it. When you see the game, there's a lot of comic book elements to it. You could tell it's done by a comic creator. So that's how I got involved with them, and it was one of the one-and-done projects I had early on in my career, but it was always fun to say I wrote a video game.
Very cool.
Yeah, exactly. Nice to have that under the belt, right?
Right? Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You brought up video games and all, and I was talking to Chad Harden over at the Tampa Bay Comic-Con, and he told me he started off with gaming. But
yeah, I mean, gaming and video games and animation, the crossover from a lot of the talent is evident, especially when you go to cons. I know a lot of the guys over at Marvel Animation and also at DC Animation are basically comic book creators that have kind of drifted over. So there's a lot of cross-pollination between those mediums, and I think that's awesome. You know, I'd love to see more comic creators get those opportunities than vice versa.
Very cool. So you're gonna keep on working tonight, or you're gonna go have a couple of drinks with the fellas? What's going on in California?
I'm going to Walmart for my first time ever.
Are you gonna pick up pockets? Whatever they're called.
No, me and the lady are going to Walmart, and I've never been. People keep telling me it's going to be an experience, so I'll report back to you guys and let you know. But I'm a little nervous. We'll see how it goes.
You got to get your camera phone ready.
That's what everyone's telling me. They're saying I got to be ready because I'm going to run into a freak show. As long as I get those, awesome deals, I'm good. So
they have trades back in the movies now.
Really? Yeah. Well, you guys might be the last thing you see of me on film before I go to Walmart and maybe die. So, what happens? But yeah, no drinks, just shopping and discounts.
You might need some after, though.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it is getting on to right around that hour-and-a-half mark that we always look for. So I think we're gonna, start closing down here. And I want to thank you, Vince. Once again, I've said that multiple times, but thank you. You stayed for this whole thing, which is awesome. And a wealth of information, so many amazing things that you guys are doing over there. And I know I said that before, but I can't say it enough. I know I'm for one extremely looking forward to what you got coming up here in the future. Going back and digging through and trying to fill in some holes on some of the runs I got going too. So
well, feel free to ask if you have any questions.
All right, absolutely. So yeah, just thank you for doing this, and really, really appreciate it. So you guys want to go down the line and say your final pieces to Mr. Vince?
I mean, it was really cool getting to meet you.
Very cool. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Anytime you guys want me back too, seriously, I had a blast.
Yeah, I would definitely. I'm gonna reach out to you after this. I would love to get some Aspen promotion going over on our site too.
Very cool. Very cool. We'd love to help you guys. Definitely.
Awesome.
And me too. Comics.
All you guys. And tell all your readers, all your fans, if they have any questions about anything Aspen related, they can go to our Facebook, facebook.com/AspenComics. They can reach out to us through social media. We're accessible, so feel free.
Cool.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Vince. Continue to go strong, man.
Thanks, guys. I will talk to you all later.
All right.
Good luck at Walmart.
Yeah, have fun in there.
Nice meeting you.
Might be the last time I talk to any of you. Yep. Later.
Survive Walmart.
All right. Well, that was awesome, guys. I don't know
Yeah,
about
that
you,
was
but
great.
I thought that was a blast.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. He's a really cool guy.
Nice.
I liked what he had to say about the industry. What he said about the just going to different conventions, how they are managing the different properties, and also how they're going into their own books, not just so much a couple covers here and there. So I'm excited that they're going to be doing more and launching their own universe and kind of having another option to find some pretty cool stories. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And he gave us some really cool teasers too, some exclusives.
Oh yeah.
So that was cool.
I like when guys like that, they show their quote unquote fan base, their true colors, and he comes across as so down to earth. So I appreciate that. I kind of with like Charlie Cox and Elodie Young, man, most sweetest, charming people out there. So I always appreciate when when you meet people like quote unquote celebrities, regardless if he thinks he is or isn't. But come across as very down to earth. I really appreciate that. Kudos to him.
Yeah, and I've always told people.
Too many spoilers. He going to work tomorrow, like, what the hell are you telling all these people all this shit for? Like, oh, whoa, we don't get him in trouble.
Yeah, I've always told people that I think some of the best stories are in independent titles. I mean, I've read so many such awesome stories. Not to say that the big two don't put out good stories, but I mean, you got like Saga, of course. You got Clone was a big one for me with Image. You just got so many good stories out there that people do need to, because it's more like a out of sight, out of mind. I don't see it all the time, so therefore I'm not thinking about it. And really, I think that people need to venture out just a little bit more. That's why I'm actually glad he talked about the trades, because I really wouldn't have known about those trades. But now that I know about them, I'm gonna go out and check them out.
I just started reading Saga, man. I got it offline.
So good, so good.
And the artwork, man, is great. I'll fill you guys in on how to get your free quote unquote digital copies.
Do it off air.
Yeah, that's an off air.
20-year membership, and I'm so happy. But Saga East, what is it? East from West as well is another one that.
East of West, yep.
Yeah, I want to definitely.
Yeah, Nick Dragotta does that book. I met him at Boston Comic Con. He's a real cool guy too.
Who was that, Chris?
Nick Dragotta, and Hickman writes it, but Nick Dragotta is on that book.
Dude, talking about meeting these creators, how crazy were the lines, man? I can imagine Boston was crazy.
So, the one thing I can say is that I got to meet a lot of the people I wanted because I got the VIP that got me in a half hour early, which, I mean, at first you don't think of things like that. You're like, oh, just kind of go in the line. But, it literally is a lifesaver to get that VIP just because, I mean, the way that I looked at it was like, when you first see the line, like on Friday when I saw the line to get in the door for just general admission, I mean, I know because I've been in it like the last 3 years. It snakes around the entire building. And the Seaport Convention Center is not a small place. It's a big building. So, I mean, some people, were there at the time that I was there, and they were waiting at least maybe like an hour and a half just to get in the door. So while they were, waiting to get in, I got to go directly to the people I wanted to and kind of hang out in that line and find out when certain people were showing up. So, but the line, the first day, the biggest line was for Sam Keith. His line literally went through his area. They capped it off, or they tried to cap it off at a certain point. He ended up being late because his flight got delayed, but his line grew and grew and grew. It basically took up almost an entire wall of the convention. It was just just a snake of people just kind of hanging out. And I was just, it made me start questioning, did he put out a book that's worth a lot of money recently? Cause and I guess
that 90s era that he was in, that's where that fan base is coming from, in my opinion, because you're sitting here shocking the crap out of me right now saying that Sam Keith's line was that long. I never would have guessed.
Yeah.
Well, the thing was, I guess, because he doesn't do a lot of conventions, that's why people are like, dude, I gotta get this signed. So, and because they were saying, like, I guess the last time he did a convention was 6 years ago, and he hasn't been seen since. So it's just like, so people couldn't wait to go. The usual suspects had humongous lines, like, Snyder and Capullo's line was big, and then you also had Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti,
What about Adam Hughes and
Adam Hughes ended up canceling.
Frank Miller was up there.
Oh, we did.
Well, Frank Miller's ended up being kind of a VIP type deal. Like, I mean, even bigger VIP type deal than what I had. Like, you had to go to like specific experience with him. But Adam Hughes ended up pulling out just because I guess he had like work stuff to do. He couldn't get the time for the show.
Oh, he didn't show up for the whole weekend?
No, he wasn't able to do it. I think
disappointed people.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I was like, I was looking forward to meeting him, but then I was like, in a way, I definitely understand, because the one thing that that we as fans kind of don't get to see, or at least maybe we're not cognizant of, is that when we're at these conventions, I mean, like, we're out here, so we're on our free time, we're enjoying the convention, we're getting things signed, we're talking to people, but like, they're actually, I mean, that's a work day for them, you know what I mean? Like they're doing sketches, they're talking with the fans and everything. It's just like, I mean, and really, honestly, it's them taking time out of their schedule to come down and do all these commissions and just kind of meet the fans, and then they got to go back and do other things. Like when I was there, Phil Jimenez had to dug out early because he's like, I have to. He was saying something about he had to get some colors and stuff approved, like final stuff from DC, and it was like he wanted to stay, but I mean, what happened was that he just like his phone like kept ringing, and he was like, oh, yeah, give me show wraps up in another hour. Just give me a second. He's like, oh, they need it now? Okay, and then so he had to pack up and leave, and so it's just like, I mean, and he wasn't trying to be a bad dude about it. He was just like, unfortunately, I got this thing going on, so, just come back tomorrow, and I'll, do what I can for you. But, it was pretty cool. Like, it was definitely cool. Like, there was some big lines, but, definitely had some good time. Actually, the one thing I can say is that Capullo and Snyder's line beat William Shatner.
No way. I saw a picture with both of them, man. It looked cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun to meet them both. They're super, super cool guys.
I'll tell you one thing, man. George Perez.
Yep.
When I went to Tampa, dude, I remember walking in. I was doing a little live broadcast.
Yep.
But I saw he was already sitting down, doing sketches, doing all of the above. I figured go run over to Charlie Cox's line because his line was crazy too. But George Perez did not get up from that seat all day, and was there maybe an hour after the con closed. And I'm like this with my books waiting to get signed. Like
he's always like that, man. I remember watching him eat pizza while he's trying to draw at the same time. I'm like, bro, it's okay if you step away and take a break.
You're allowed to eat. Be human.
You know what's funny? He apologized. Like, I think it was like in 2013. Like, he was at a convention. He's like, I'm sorry, guys. Nature's calling. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Like, he apologized to go into the bathroom. It's like, dude, like, we're here for you. Like, we got all the time in the world, man. You do what you got, So it's just like, it's really, like, it's funny because, like, more often than not, you meet a lot of really nice, everybody's really nice. Everybody's really cool. And, I really can't think of too many people who have had bad run-ins with as far as meeting creators and artists and stuff like that. Like 99% of everybody who I've met has been really, really just awesome and nice. Sometimes some of the handlers or some of the people assisting them can be a little pushy, but other than that, like, they're all really cool. So
yeah, that's what I hear about the Stanley handlers.
Oh yeah, like the Stanley handlers. I mean, I wasn't there for it, but people I knew that went, they were just like, yeah, like, literally. Like, you hardly even get to say hi to the man before you're already being pushed out of line. They're just like, here's your book, and it's like a assembly line. They just pass it on down, and like, you get to say like, hi, Stan. And like, oh, if you get the photo thing, you get to stop and take a picture with them. Like, all right, here's your book, get the hell out. Like it's literally like, just straight on through. Like they want no stopping, no talking, no nothing. Like So basically,
time is money.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, you don't even have a chance to like really let him like sink in that you were even there. He just kind of like sees just this mass of people fly by him, and he's like, all right, Excelsior, what's next?
If you guys go check out my YouTube channel, Greg let me do an interview with him a couple years ago.
Really?
It was kind of messed up, but still he was cool enough to do that. So he's definitely a down-to-earth guy, and I think he likes to be in the camera a little bit. He likes to kind of continue to get his name out there or whatever, but definitely a cool dude.
Yeah, that's one thing I did notice. You know, trying to film at a Comic-Con is more difficult than you would think, just because there's so much going on, and you want to be able to, so you want to catch everything, but then you also, I want to check out these books over here at this place. I can't be thumbing through long boxes if I get a camera out. That looks weird. And it's just like, you know, some people are really shy, though. They don't like being on camera. They're like, you know, you can see it right in their faces, like, what are you doing? You gotta be like, oh, you know, I have a YouTube channel. Do you mind? Like, I guess it's all right. And then you're like, all right, I don't want to upset you, so I'll just put this away, you know.
One of the keys to do is to have a second person with you, somebody doing the camera, you know, while you're doing the interviewing or whatever.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, that wouldn't have been a bad idea. Like, I can't convince my wife to do it because she'd be like, I mean, my wife, when it comes to like a convention and that many people, she would want to leave in like 10 minutes just because, and I understand that, because conventions are a rough environment sometimes. You know, there's so many people that's, you know, and it's just like, especially if it's not really your thing, like, it's just tough to deal with. So I wouldn't, I mean, I would love if she would do it, but I wouldn't ask her to. Like, I mean, you know, next time around, you know, see who of my friends, you know, family, whoever wants to come with me is there, and then maybe be like, all right, you're going to be the cameraman, so if this comes out shitty, it's your fault.
Don't have your partner being your wife with a stroller, man. Saturday was crazy with my stroller.
Yes, Saturday's always the worst day.
I'll never do that again. Hey, Biggies wants to know how was Ken Lashley's line, and that being said, he did a sketch for someone in the CB I forget who it was, but man, that sketch he did on a blank cover for someone in the group was
Murphinata? Amazing Murphinata? I was with him when he did that.
Man, that's a beautiful.
I was standing right there. I could tell you the story. Like, it's his story to tell, but I don't mind telling it. You know, and I hope he's cool with me doing it. Like, you know, I'll go. I mean, he's a really cool guy. I got to meet him this weekend for the first time. But we went up to Ken, and he was just kind of like, you know, just chilling. He's like, hey man, he's like, you know, what would it be just to get kind of like, you know, just like a hack job, you know, kind of like a hack, you know, just little thing on there. And Ken told him straight. He's like, look at him. He's like, you know what? I'll do it. Just pay me whatever you want. And he's like, all right. He's like, you know, just you know, can you get me, you know, back? I was like, yeah, no problem. And you know, he's just like, you know, he just came through. He's like, yeah, you know, this is gonna be it. So he just went ahead and just, you know, started doing it. And then, like, I mean, we're expecting just, you know, maybe some pencils and inks. Next thing you know, it's just like, you know, he's putting all this extra stuff down, and it just came out beautiful. So it's just like, you know, he, you know, his line actually, he was really accessible. It was kind of funny, just like, I think that, you know, people kind of like, and I don't know how you don't know him at this point. Like, some people might just be, I mean, maybe it's just one of those things where people just aren't looking specifically for his stuff, or they know he works on the books, but they just don't know him. But man, he was just like, you know, his line was like open. He was accessible. He was doing sketches. He was just an amazing guy. You know, super cool to talk to. Like, just an ultra fun dude to talk to. So if you get a chance to meet him and hang out with him or just talk to him, like, do it, because he's just, man, like the way he is in the Comic Book Fanatics when he's just hanging out with Marty and all them, he's the exact same way in real life. He's so cool.
Nice. I like hearing stories like that where, you know, there's cool, chill, down to earth, and just, you know, not letting everything get to their head. So, yeah, but those are the best kind of people. Like Vince, for example, that was a perfect example. But we're getting on close to 9:30 here. So, what do you guys say we, you know, give some final thoughts and, you know, give a little shout out to somebody else, and we'll call it a night.
Yeah.
All right. You want to go first, Chris?
Yeah, I can do that. So I just wanted to, you know, say thanks again to Vince for coming on. That was really cool. You know, definitely, you know, I guess when you have a creator come on like that, or somebody, you know, somebody involved in comics like that, you know, it's always just so much of a treat to have them out here talking and just sharing the inside world to them. So that's, you know, inside world of theirs with us with it. So that's really cool. I also wanted to shout out to everybody who's doing contests right now. I know that Biggie's is running his 500 subscriber contest. So I want to go ahead and congratulate him on getting to 500, and also, you know, just let everybody know, you know, go ahead and jump in on his contest. Spectacular Spider Grandpa is actually running a contest as well. And also, wanted to just give a shout out to Splash Page Comics. Mr. White Gloves. He hasn't been on for a little bit. Just kind of getting better from a little bit of a personal issue that's going on. So I just wanted to say, give him a shout out, let him know that we're with him, and hopefully he comes back real soon. It's happy to see the the white gloves and everything like that. So that's what I got. Thanks.
Let me see if I can do this. I was trying to do effects. There we go. I got it. All right. All right, Mr. Comics and stuff.
Well, first, definitely appreciate Vince coming on. I mean, just the fact that he was willing to come on says a lot about his character. So I definitely appreciate that. So if he's listening to this, man, kudos to you for coming to even come on. Thanks, guys. Again, I apologize for coming late. I appreciate you guys letting me join onto the panel. I'd love to do this every week with you guys. And to all the viewers in the chat room. I lost count at 980 something. But with all the people in the chat room, thanks for viewing. And thanks a lot.
Awesome. Ready? Figured out how to use that.
By the way, Chris, you mentioned white gloves. I saw you had black gloves in one of your videos. That was funny.
Yeah, and I have the not for any sort of crazy reason. It's just those just happen to be the only gloves I had, and I was like, you know what? Let's throw them on, protect my comics.
That was cool.
All right. Next up the bat, Edwin.
Yeah, shout out to Vince also for coming on. I felt like we got a lot of inside information, which was really, really cool. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I actually feel like we did pretty well getting a lot of questions that were in the chat asked to our guests. And Jesse, thanks for allowing us to come on, man, and thanks for doing what you did to get Vince in there. That was a really cool surprise.
Very cool.
Yeah, it takes some work on the back end, so to speak. So, get those things going.
Do you have to slip him some money or something?
No, he's just a cool day. Cool dude. Yeah, but Justin?
Same as everybody said, it was really awesome to have Vince on, be able to get insights on what's going on with Aspen. Just took a look. Unfortunately, they don't have any new books coming out tomorrow, but this is a good time. Like he said, he mentioned those 3 trades, so everybody go out and pick those up. I think they're on halfpricetrades.com also, so you can get them on there. Whatever it is, it's a website where you do things and you click. But also, plug comicbook.com, our website there where Jesse's a writer for us, and we're looking for new writers. So if anybody out there wants to write some comic book articles or movie articles or anything like that, get in touch with me and we'll kind of get that process going. Always looking to expand.
Cool. All right. There we go. All right, so I'm basically just going to be repeating what you guys said. Thanks to Vince for coming on the show. And honestly, you know what? I kind of thought, because I know he's a busy guy and everything, that he'd be there for, 20, 30 minutes at the most, right? Ask a few questions, and I understand you got to go. But he stayed for the whole freaking thing, which is awesome. And that was really cool. And like you guys said, we got so much information from him, so much insight into, the studio. The books coming up, just everything. It was really cool to have them there. So shout out to you guys too for helping keep the questions going and just the engagement there. I thought that was awesome. And keeping an eye on the chat. Like you said, we had a lot of really good questions in there. So shout out to the people in the chat for those too. Couldn't have done it without all you guys kind of coming together and making all this happen. So really appreciate it. And then I always say, collect, what you love, collect what you want. But I'm going to add to that, get Aspen Comics anyways. So collect what you want and that. No, seriously, you can't go wrong with that. No, you can't go wrong. You'll just be happy there. So with that, that'll do it for another show. This is another Tuesday Comic Conversation. Tune in next Tuesday. We have a guest that I have lined up as well for them. So good things happening. So looking forward to it. And have a good night, everybody.
Thanks.
All right. See you guys.
Have a good one.